Hi guys, this is going to be our beach board introduction video. I kind of just wanted to go over some basic things that you should know how to do when you're navigating through this course because it is like our classroom. So the first thing I want to show you is the home page. You should only have access to KIN 483 section 5. I believe there's another section. I tried not to activate it so it didn't get confusing. So if this pops up, we're golden. The first thing that you'll see on the home page is a welcome message. Okay, I would suggest watching all of the welcome videos, the course intro and syllabus review. Maybe you've watched that one already. This is the course navigation video, and then I also have other videos on Zoom tips as well as a virtual lab and software downloads, so you guys don't feel as lost in trying to do things and figure things out on your own. The next thing down is our Getting Started tab. This will pretty much only be relevant for the first week of school or shortly prior to. So this is kind of like your checklist of things to do before the semester begins. The pre-semester survey, I've pretty much already taken that into consideration as far as the times that this class will be offered. But I still encourage you to fill it out because there are, if you haven't done so already, because there are questions on there that just give me a little bit more information, like if you work through BMAC or, if you have situations at home that might interfere with you, succeeding in this class, because I want to know. I don't need to know you guys' whole life story, but I think it's important for me to know, like, if you're in an adverse situation. That way, if something happens during the semester and you start falling behind because your home environment isn't a good study space, like, I think going into the semester kind of knowing your situation a little bit better, I can be a little bit more empathetic, and yeah, so I would highly encourage you. I think about half of you have taken the survey so far, but if you haven't taken the survey, still feel free to fill it out. Also, if you haven't done so already, add your picture to your BeachBoard profile. If I never see you in our live lecture meetings, just gives me a face with a name. Also, you're going to want to set up your BeachBoard notifications so that you are constantly being posted on this class. Now, I try not to overpost. If someone has a really great question or brings up there was a mistake in an assignment or something, obviously I'm going to post that immediately. Usually I'll post one news item per week, kind of just giving an intro to what's going on, things that are due, etc. A lot of the stuff you guys can do asynchronously. I tried to make it so that the time we have together is concentrated on the content, and then the time you have by yourself, it's already organized, so you don't have to have any anxiety over it. Setting up your BeachBoard notifications, you'll notice this is kind of like your hub for settings. So if you click on the settings bar, this is what I hate about BeachBoard, is because it's like, ooh, look, we could do stuff. Now, I don't know if you guys have this. It might just be because I have an instructor view, but I find that super confusing because usually you'd think this is where I set up everything. Where you actually set up stuff is when you click on your name. So you can view your profile. This is where you can add interesting facts about yourself if somebody decides to read up on you. I don't know. It's not for stalking purposes. It's so that we can get to know you a little bit better and your classmates can get to know you a little bit better. Notifications is where I like to go. So to set up notifications, you can get this app that kind of connects with the Brightspace, which is BeachBoard. It connects with this whole site, and I haven't personally used it yet, so I don't know how it works, but if anybody wants to try it out this semester, please let me know what you think about it. You can set your email address and your mobile number. Please don't use this. And then you also can say like how often you want to be notified, right? So a summary of activity is just going to give you a blast of stuff if content was created, if it was updated, if something's due, when something's available, when something ends. I personally think that's way too much, and it's really overwhelming, and nobody likes a whole bunch of BeachBoard notifications because you get that on top of all of the individual notifications if you have it set up that way. So if you like one big summary, you can set up your summary. I just have that one turned off. I like to have instant notifications, specifically when content is created and updated, and when discussions are posted, because this is, at least for like our online or the virtual office, right? That's where a lot of general questions are going to be posted. And then we're also going to have discussion boards every week when we have lecture content, or even for review weeks if you guys have questions on activities or assignments. I ask that you not share answers, but I think you can share your methods and use each other as resources. So I would highly recommend adding discussion boards to your notifications. And this pretty much goes for all of your classes, if I'm not mistaken, unless you can set your notifications specifically for each class. I haven't ever really messed with that. I always just get updated when something's posted on BeachBoard, period. If you are, worried about deadlines for Dropbox is where you're going to submit all of your activities for the semester. So if you want to have, due date reminders, you can set up for Dropbox. Obviously, I'm not going to be submitting anything, so I keep those off for my settings. You can also be notified when grade items are released or updated. News items, this one's a big star that I would recommend you adding to your notifications. And then again, same thing with deadlines. If you're worried about missing a quiz, make sure you set up your notifications for your quizzes. Okay. You can also exclude courses. So I've had professors in the past where they add a whole bunch of content and I just get BeachBoard in my email, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is so crazy, and I end up deleting all of them because I think it's just a whole bunch of crap and then I actually miss something important. So if you have a teacher like that, or past courses or whatever, you can always exclude courses from your notification list. When you've figured out what you want to do, you can press save, and then your notifications are set up pretty easily. The other thing that you can do is your account settings. And in here, this is kind of like, I don't know, I use this part a little bit, especially for time zones, because obviously my time zone is different, but this is helpful for me at least. But this has some different settings that you can do as far as video, reading content, font settings. If you, I had a student a while back who was working with BMAC and she needed things that were in larger print. So this is an area, if you think the font size is too small, you can change that. You can also set up different settings for discussions and how they are organized, so feel free to look at that. And then you can also set up your email options. So if you want a signature at the bottom, I always have a signature when I send to you guys, that way I don't forget to let you know who's sending. You can add forwarding email addresses, which I feel like they might have disabled this, so everything should go straight to your student email. Feel free to forward your student email to the regular email address that you check regularly so you don't miss any notifications if you have stuff sent to your email. Okay, but also a good thing to know whenever I email you guys through the Classlist, it's going to go straight to your student email. So even if you don't have your stuff forwarded, just make sure you check everything on a regular basis. I personally have the Outlook app downloaded on my phone, and I mean, I work with 3 different email domains, so I feel like it's a little bit excessive, but it keeps my mailboxes organized, and they're kind of separated based on who would be emailing me. So my personal email has all of my personal stuff. My UMass email has all the stuff related to that campus. This email has everything related to Long Beach. Okay, but I would set up email notifications on your phone. You'll never miss anything. Okay, so that's this part. If once you're done with the getting started area, you can collapse it by clicking on the drop down menu, and it'll just bring the news items up automatically. So I would recommend that once you've kind of gotten accommodated. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Once you've kind of got accommodated to how the course is set up. Next to that section is the calendar and due date. So whenever I like to use date restrictions a lot in BeachBoard, and restrictions not in like a bad connotation way, but it keeps it more structured for you guys, and whenever you set up your notifications for weekly reminders or summaries, this is the type of stuff that will show up, okay? So your calendar is there. There's also my contact information as well as the office hours Zoom link. I put passwords, that way our meetings are protected. And then there's my bio if you wanted to read about me, as well as additional resources about accessibility and the use of BeachBoard. I also included student resources on here, so instead of trying to navigate the CSULB website, you can always have kind of quick links for any help that you might need access to. Okay, the content section is where I really want you guys to explore before the semester begins. You'll notice I have things hidden from you, and they're not going to be published until you need them. I don't want to clutter your BeachBoard space with too much information because then it gets really overwhelming. So you can do the table of contents. That you can see it's like 147 items so far. And I've only scheduled through like week 4. That's not to freak you out. There's just a lot of extra documents that I like to give you guys to help you study. So you think of it as a good thing. But table of contents is literally just going to give you everything chunked into one big like stream of stuff, and I think that's like way too much to look at. So what I recommend is you click on the individual tabs, right? So this course syllabus and your schedule are here, okay? These are my accessibility scores, and some things I'm able to get to 100%. PDFs and JPEG files are extremely hard to make completely accessible. So if for some reason you have an issue with something that's posted or it doesn't accommodate your needs, there's also there's always this alternative formats icon that you can click on, or at least usually it's there, and then it'll give you different options for how to access that document. So we've got course schedule and syllabus. Make sure you read those before the start of this semester, or at least watch the class overview video. I don't go over everything in the syllabus because some of it you guys already know. I think it's kind of pointless to read everything. But that's like our student-teacher contract. So it is important that you understand what the expectations are of this semester and the different types of policies that we have in the class. Your course assignment checklist is going to be like the entire semester worth of due dates, okay, and when things are. So this is kind of like a big task list, and each week I will have these individual tasks listed out for you. But if you wanted an overview of the whole semester, you can always look at the checklist. For online meetings, this is going to be the same link that we're using every single time we meet. I still have yet to change the time on this. That's on my to-do list for this week. But again, your password's always going to be the same for our lecture meeting, so KIN483 with an exclamation point. Just a reminder, our classes will be held Monday at 3 p.m. to 3:50 p.m. Okay. Anytime that we have a Zoom lecture, I will record it and then post it within 24 hours. Okay. But this is kind of like your only time to really ask in-person questions other than if you attend our virtual office hours. Okay. In-person, very loosely used. I also have Zoom links for the virtual office space. Okay. So this is the link for that. Again, you have a password to enter in. These will be Wednesdays, 9 to 10 a.m. Okay, all of these are Pacific Standard Time. I also have a link to a discussion board for Student Lounge. So this is a virtual space where you can ask each other questions. They could be general, they could be specific, it could be maybe you found a really cool YouTube video that explains something that maybe I didn't go over a lot, or you thought it was helpful for studying outside of the course content that we've covered in class. So feel free to share stuff with each other, not answers. Be very clear with that. Okay. We also have questions for the instructor. So this is anything regarding the class. Okay. Don't get too personal. Don't tell me your life story in here because everybody has access to this. Okay, so if you have questions about your grades, if you have, a situation that kept you from making a deadline, that's an email-related type of question. Okay, I want to respect your guys' privacy. You need to respect each other's privacy and your privacy as well. So this is more of just like a general area to ask questions. Okay. Student resources. This is provided by BeachBoard. So this is like if you have questions on how to install certain software within BeachBoard, it gives you technical support. If you are having problems with accessibility, you can look up that information. So additional resources. Let me move down. Course resources and study materials. This is probably going to be where a lot of you will, like those of you who like to do extra work outside of your regular activities and your content stuff, will really appreciate this section. Over the past 3 semesters, I've worked really hard to put all of this together, and semester after semester, students say that the stuff in this section is a big contributor to them succeeding in the class. So the first one I want to show you, I have flowcharts. I think a lot of our activities are procedurally based, and it can be really easy to get processes and steps confused. So I made basically PowerPoint. I don't know if it'll open the way that I want it to on here. But I just, like, this is an example for exam 2. You have a decision tree because when we're faced with like a bunch of different variables and different types of variables and different levels of variables, it can get really confusing to figure out what you're actually doing. And I don't think it's gonna load for me. But, oh, maybe not. I'm guessing not. It's fine. You guys can look at it on your own. But I would highly recommend that you pull these up, print them out, I give you a filled out one and a blank one, so if you want to use it as a study tool, you can check your answers, make sure you really have it down. I think hand to paper, contact is really, really good for instilling learning and making sure that you've got stuff down. So I have resources for both Exam 2 and Exam 3 if you're interested in the flowcharts. I also have stats, test summaries, and breakdowns. These are in Excel spreadsheets. Same thing, there's going to be a filled in one and a blank one for studying purposes, but this kind of just gives you a list of all the assumptions you would have to meet, what type of variables you're using. It's essentially exactly the same as the flowchart, but it's in a different format. So those of you who are more visual learners, flowcharts will probably be the better option because you have a visual mapping system of the procedures that you're doing. For those of you who are more organizational learners, the stat summaries might be a little bit better. It's an organized table, and there's still a flow of how things work, but it's a little bit less colorful and pretty. So feel free to use any of these at your own leisure. I have also created an Excel and SPSS formulas and tests document. Please, 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 please take advantage of this. I've had several students in the past forget that I posted this, and it is so useful. You have no idea how useful this is. Okay? So, when you first download it, I want you to go to View, and then click on the navigation pane. I've organized this, then there's like an outline area. I've organized it by headings so that there are shortcuts, so you don't have to scroll through the entire document. It is 18 pages long, okay? So I have formulas by chapter. You're going to get mathematical formulas that you will have to know for your exams. They are all on here. Some of the ones that are in here I've decided to cut out from past exams, so if we don't cover it in class, you don't need to know it, okay? But this is just a nice way for you guys to have your information organized so you're not flipping through a bunch of slides and notes, okay? But these are formulas by chapters as they're introduced to you. I also have Excel basic functions. So when you click on this navigation bar, say that you were doing an activity and you can't remember what the function is for calculating a square root, right? You click on square root. It gives you the formula you'd put in the formula bar. It tells you what it does and then any extra notes that might be relevant for that particular function that we cover in class. Okay. We also have the same thing for all of our SPSS statistical tests. So if you're doing your activity and you can't remember how to run a paired samples t-test, it tells you what the test does, how to get to it within the software, what data goes into the test, any assumptions you have to meet, and special notes as well. Okay, please utilize this resource. A lot of this stuff I'll copy and paste into your guys' activities, so you technically already have it, it's just more consolidated in this document. Okay, so that's another study tool that you can use. And then I also post exam study guides. Okay, I have updated Exam Study Guide 1 and 2 so far. I think I'm still working on 2. 3, definitely not there yet because that's like 2 months from now. So I would upload these during the review weeks for their respective exams. They will definitely be updated by then. Okay. And I'll also put links to these within each module week. So if you forget that they're in here, you still have access to them. Okay, but this is just kind of a comprehensive list of any formulas, terminology that you need to know, any major concepts that we've covered in lecture content or activities that I think would be pertinent for you to know for the exam. Usually I will give you guys, in like the exam review week, you get kind of like a practice exam, so you're not going in blind to how questions will be asked, right? And questions will be very similar to activities as well. So this is an opening. It hates me. It's fine. But that way, you know, like, I really want to get out of this test anxiety world that education has created for students. And I don't always think that tests reflect how much you actually learn all the time. Okay, they are good for certain purposes, but I think more so education is just decided to stress students out and say, like, this is going to be a huge percentage of your grade. And my teaching philosophy does not agree with that method. That's why tests are only 30% of your grade, okay? I think the work you put in outside of class is what really counts. So this is basically all of your resources that you can use in the content section. Each week, I kind of just want to show you how it'll be set up. You get a welcome because you are here, you are living, and we praise that. It will tell you when the module begins, when it ends, okay? You'll have your learning objectives for that specific week, and the course learning objectives, there's 5 total, right? And these are just what we work on in respective weeks. And then you also have kind of a tally of how much of your grade or of your final grade you have completed based on the assignments or assessments that are due that week. Okay, so in week 1, you are contributing to approximately 7.22% of your final grade. This is also, I think, a good reminder or a visual reminder, like when we get to midterm time and you're 50% of the way there, and or if we get closer to the end of the semester and you're like, okay, how much wiggle room do I have to get the grade that I want? I think it's a good reminder to say, like, okay, you've completed 65% of your grade. You still have X percent left to figure things out so that you can achieve success, okay? So this will be a checklist, also has your due dates for the assignments that will be graded. Okay, we also have our class lectures. I like to give you guys both a PowerPoint version as well as a PDF document for those of you who have like Surface Pros and like to write in your notes using a stylus. The PDF document is set up in the 3-slide outline that has a little note bars on the side. If you like something different, feel free to transfer or save as a PDF the PowerPoint in however the slide format you prefer. Okay, but either way, you have some options. Oh, please note before I forget, in the lectures, there are blanks in the PowerPoints. So please don't wait till the last minute. If you can't attend the live lecture, don't wait till the last minute to watch the lecture before an exam, because you do have to fill in stuff, okay? If you guys want to share PowerPoints with each other, I really don't care, okay? I think the videos will be valuable to watch because, I mean, it's like it's a conversation, and you hear other students' questions, you hear my response to their questions, right? So it's kind of an irreplaceable learning experience, similar to in-person learning, but oh well. But I really, really would suggest that you fill in the blanks on your own, okay? Unless you're having like technological issues, and then I completely understand that. Please don't ask me for any fill-ins because all of my PowerPoints have animations and stuff, and they end up being way too big to send over email. And if I put them in a shared space, they usually take up all of the available space that I have to work with. So ask your classmates if you're not going to watch the videos, but I strongly suggest you watch the videos. Okay. Your assignments and assessments will all be in one area. Usually I'll post your activity stuff first. You'll have an instruction sheet, an answer sheet. This is what you'll actually turn into Dropbox. You'll have the data that you'll be working with for the week. Also, usually something you'll turn into Dropbox. And then this is a link to the actual Dropbox. It tells you when the item is due, when it's available, and when it is no longer available. Okay, same thing with the quiz. You guys can get to the Dropbox and the quiz links by also using Dropbox and quizzes. Okay, so it's up to you how you navigate it. I just tried to put everything in one place so you're only working in one tab for the most part for the week. I also give you supplemental resources. Okay, so in addition to exam study guides, I would highly recommend you guys use these for studying on a weekly basis. So after you've watched the lecture video, after you've completed the activity, go back through this module, like they're all listed by the module that they belong to, but go back through like key terms and concepts, and there will be a terminology list. Make sure you understand how to define and apply. Application is huge in this class, okay, because it's an upper division course. So that's kind of key to the heart of upper division courses, is being able to apply and evaluate the information that you're taking in. Okay, so know how to define and apply the terms that we learn in the week. I'll also put any formulas we learn for the week, any functions in Excel or tests in SPSS that you should know how to do for the exam, and any key concepts that you should know by the end of the lecture. Okay. There's also a link to the discussion board for that, for the given week that we're in. Okay, so for this week it'd be week 1, and this is the space where you ask specific questions related to the lecture content and any activity questions that come up as you're going through stuff, things for clarification, etc. I would encourage you guys to post in the discussion board or check the discussion board, at least every other day, because you never know who else has the same questions as you, and you would be surprised actually how often people will ask questions, and like 35% of the class has the exact same question, but somebody's too shy or ashamed to ask questions. It is good to ask questions in this class. Okay, so and no question is dumb. I will never put you down for asking a question, but it also gives you guys an opportunity to respond to each other and see if you can problem solve your way through different situations. Okay, so if you have questions related to the week, I would rather you post them here than email me. I feel like email should be more reserved for individual stuff, or more personal related stuff. I'm not saying you can't email me, but like share your thoughts with your classmates. I think it's a very valuable thing. Okay, so basically we just have all of the weeks, and that's going to be the general setup for every week. Media section is where I'll post any videos. If that plan changes for any reason, I will let you know. But this should be where you're able to access every lecture and activity video. It should be pretty nice. Okay, Classlist is where you can email me through BeachBoard. I put my email several other places, so feel free to use those links as well to send me an email. You can also send your class list an email, or anybody in the class. Dropbox exists. Okay, this is where you're going to turn in all of your assignments. I'm assuming most of you have used Dropbox up to this point, but all of your activities are in here. Due dates are on here. Please look when you have feedback. Okay, your view isn't going to look like mine, but after you have submitted an activity, I will always give you feedback. If you have 100%, you'll probably not have feedback, but I don't know if the view of the feedback is poor as far as the design of BeachBoard, but I've had a lot of students in past semesters where they make a mistake on their activity, I give them the feedback, and then they turn around and make the exact same mistake on the exam when I explicitly told them how to fix the issue or, rethink a problem. So please, please, please read your feedback. Feedback usually will be posted during review week, so you use that information to help review for the test. Okay, so don't forget to check when feedback is posted on your submissions. There's also a link to Zoom through BeachBoard. You also have a Zoom link through your single sign-on page, which is usually how I access Zoom. Quizzes are posted in the quizzes section. Go figure. Okay, so quizzes are going to be, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through number 9. Your exams will be taken through the quiz link. Okay, and your exam review extra credit quizzes will be in the quiz section as well. Okay, discussions, right? This is going to be where all of our discussion boards are posted. So your student lounge, this is where you provide peer questions and resources, general questions for me, and then your more specific questions based on the week we are working on. Okay, exam weeks are the only weeks I don't have discussions posted, but you can subscribe, right, to different forums. I don't have any subscriptions yet because none of the discussion boards are active yet. But you can, set up how you want your notifications to be sent for any discussion boards you're subscribed to. Grades. This is another important section that you guys should be familiar with. Okay, everything is organized based on category, so similar to our syllabus, you have exams, you have quizzes, you have activities, and then your extra credits. All your extra credit quizzes will show up down here. Please note, currently I have everything out of 100. Okay, this class isn't based on a point system. Okay, so everything is weighted, which I think might show up slightly differently on your guys' setup. But just remember, exams are 30% of your grade. So take 10% of the actual score that you, or not 10%. If you get like a 90% on your exam, right? Each exam is worth 10% of your final grade. Okay, so a 90% on your exam would translate to 9% towards your final grade in the class. Okay, so just make sure you're not adding points and miscalculating your grade. I have it so that your final grade should be displayed throughout the whole semester. If it's not, you can always contact me. I keep a running tally of grades in the class, and I can always tell you what you have currently in the class. Okay. Additional support resources are in the support bar, and then this more one, that's for me, not for you. Okay. So hopefully if you weren't familiar with how BeachBoard worked, hopefully this video was helpful to you. Obviously, if you guys have any questions on where to find things, please let me know. I try to add links within the things that I post so that they direct you to where they are in the actual course online. But this is a new territory for me, going fully remote, so I will, gladly take feedback if you think something could be organized better. But hopefully it's set up so that you have low anxiety, high success.